there, welcome to Just Me and My Fabric. I'm Angela, and today I'm going to share with you guys how I did on all of my 2023 sewing goals. If that sounds interesting, stick around. I'm so happy you guys stopped in today. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. Today's video is going to be just a little bit of a look back at 2023. In fact, it's kind of the last in a few videos I've done taking a look at 2023 before I start ramping up for next year. And if you missed the other two, I'll put links to them in the description below. And basically those were like, how much fabric did I sew up towards my goal and what are the things that I made. And today I'm going to be looking back at the I think it was eight sewing related goals that I set for myself at the beginning of 2023 and just kind of seeing how I did. So let's jump in. We're going to go over these one by one. And if you want like a little bit of a reminder or look back, if you want to see the video that I did at the beginning of the year where I talked about setting these goals, I'll put a link up here or below. So these may not be in the same order that I presented them in that video, but here they are. The first one, learn how to do welt pockets like in pants, the back, the back of your pants seat. I did not do that, but I am determined to learn how to do that in 2024. So far I'm 0 for 1, 0 for 8. Let's talk about the next one. And the next one was to use more of the features and capabilities that my Janome sewing machine offers. I got this a couple of years ago, and I know that it has a lot more possibilities than I don't really put it through its paces, so to speak. I feel like I did kind of do that this year. I am in the habit of when I have to put in an invisible zipper, I typically hand pick the zipper, hand sew it in. I did an invisible zipper on this machine this year and it turned out great. I also used the buttonhole maker, so that turned out really well too. For the most part, I had some success with it, and then it kind of started flaking out. So I don't know if that was something I did or something with the machine. When I take it to have it for its routine service, I'll have them look at that. So I would say that I'm going to give myself a check mark for that goal. I know that I still have a lot more that I could try out on this machine, but I'll work on that in the coming year. The next one was to get a serger and learn how to use it. Nope. But I'm really going to strive to do this in the early part of 2024. And thinking about what's holding me back on that. I mean, it's a little bit the cost, but the cost is not prohibitive. I'm planning to get like a lower model entry-level serger, so it's going to be relatively affordable. And I'm kind of thinking that maybe like the learning curve is a little bit giving me some trepidation, but I have a plan for that. So while I'm saving the money over the next couple of months to get the serger, I am going to start watching videos on YouTube on how to use said serger, the model that I'm going to get and everything. I know there's got to be a ton of videos on it out there. So already by the time I get the machine, I'll have a leg up. So I've got plans. The fourth goal that I had was to sew a swimsuit. Nope. But I will do this in 2024. So far I'm looking at my notes here. I'm 1 out of 4. So let's keep going. The fifth goal was to finish up the quilts that I have in progress. I didn't even touch them. So I need to get those wrapped up. I was so focused on garment sewing and so forth that I didn't even give 2 thoughts to my quilts. And I have 3 of them in progress, and I just want to get those finished up. They're in various stages. One of them, I just need to finish up the quilting on it, put the binding on, and I'm done. The other one, I need to finish the top. And the third one, I have the top made. I just need to sandwich it, quilt it, and bind it. So I at least want to get 2 of the 3 finished this coming year. I just need to sit down and make that a priority. Let's move on. The sixth goal was to become a little more proficient with fit adjustments, and I'm going to give myself a check mark on this one. I still have a ways to go, But I did make significant improvements in 2023 on fitting. And it's something that every time I start a new project, I'm really cognizant of fit now. And I try to take all the measurements, choose the best size. If it's something that is way out of scope of anything I've made before, or if I am using a pricey fabric, in those cases, I'll go ahead and make a muslin and work the fit adjustments on that. Otherwise, I'm getting much better at taking the right measurements, looking at the pattern pieces, reading the measurements printed on the tissue pieces, and making adjustments before even getting started, like in my head, thinking about the adjustments I need to make, and going ahead and adjusting the tissue pieces. So actually making the changes on the pattern pieces so that I can then cut right into my good fabric and cut the pieces out. And I think I've done pretty good so far. So 2 thumbs up on that one. The seventh goal was to sew up more indie patterns as opposed to the big four, which are kind of my go-to over the years of sewing. So it is one of my goals to branch out, try some more indie patterns. And so this year, out of the, I think, 13 finishes that I had garments, 3 of those were Love Notions patterns, which is an indie pattern company. 3 or 4. I did the Love Notions duet, the glissando skirt, and the laundry day tee. So 3 out of the 13, and I know it was all the same pattern company. I have fallen in love with Love Notions patterns because they seem to fit me pretty well with very minimal fit adjustments. But I do have plans to sew up some other indie patterns in 2024, kind of keep branching out and trying new things. And the 8th goal that I set for 2023 was to sew up half of my garment fabric stash before purchasing any new fabric. So I did not succeed at this one, although I did make a dent. And I did a whole video on that. I'll link it up here or below in case you're interested or if you missed that one. So I'm still going to give myself a check mark on this one, even though I didn't sew half. I feel like it was still a pretty good dent, and more importantly, it was a goal that I didn't lose sight of like I did with some of these throughout the year. I kept it front and center and I worked towards it. So I think that counts as a win. Let's look at the final tally of how I did out of all 8 of these goals. So out of all 8, I completed or at least made serious progress on 4 of them. So I'm going to count that as a win. I think that's pretty good. And one other thing that wasn't on my goal plan that I set at the beginning of the year was to make a 10-piece capsule wardrobe. And I did decide this early on in the year, but for whatever reason, I didn't write it down as a goal. But I think I can kind of add it on after the fact. I ended up making 8 of the pieces, so I'm calling that a win too. So we could look at it as 5 out of 9 successes, right? And with the capsule wardrobe, I found that after 8 pieces, and even throughout the making of the 8 pieces, I was really kind of burning out on it. So it was kind of an interesting insight or lesson, not lessons learned really, but just information that I have my limits as far as how rigid can I stick to a sewing plan. And there comes a point at which I had to reel it back in and say, enough. I want to sew something different, something that I hadn't planned on, something fun to make it seem less like a chore or less like, oh, it's drudgery. I have to stick to a plan. And like, oh yeah, sewing is supposed to be fun. That's why we do it, right? In a lot of our cases, at least. So it was good to kind of have that insight going forward. And I think I'm kind of toying with the idea of doing like a little mini capsule for the spring and summer of 24. And I know that setting a 10-piece like quota is probably going to be too much, and maybe 4 or 5 pieces that all kind of you can mix and match, that might be more realistic and doable for me, and therefore I won't feel like, oh, I failed at this plan or this goal. What I really did instead was to set a more realistic goal, and having that success feels good instead of feeling like I didn't reach what I set out to do. Either way, it's not life or death. And either way, I still got an 8-piece capsule wardrobe out of the whole thing. So it's still a win. And I'm still kind of thinking over what I want to accomplish in 2024. And I'm probably not going to talk about that too much today. Some of it'll be some of these same goals that I didn't reach this year. I'll just roll those over into the next year. But there's going to be some new things. And I think what I've kind of need to tell myself too about goals is make sure that they are, what did I hear recently and I loved it? It was set your goals high, but not out of reach. So it's good to have stretch goals, but make sure that they are actually doable and that you don't have so many of them that you'll never finish them. That's speaking to myself there. And any of you guys that might find that helpful, I hope that it is helpful for you. Do you guys set goals for your sewing life? If you do, share that below. I would love to know. And if you don't mind, and it's not too uncomfortable, let us know what some of your specific goals were for this year. Did you reach them or not? I would love to hear. And just a little reminder for you guys, if you're new to the channel and you didn't know about this before, since this is something kind of new for the channel, for the next little while, I'm probably going to give this little reminder at the end of the video. I do have a member plan in place now. If you click the join button that's below the video, you can take a look and see if that's something that you're interested in. There's a couple of different levels. It's kind of similar to Patreon, if you guys are familiar with that, but there's little perks for those that decide to join. It's a great way to support the channel if that's something that you would like to do. Of course, I do understand that it's not always feasible, and just watching my videos is the best thing that you guys could do to support my channel, and I so appreciate it very much. I'm so happy that you guys choose to hang out with me. And it's even better when you guys comment. I love chatting with you guys in the comments. That's one of the things that we're doing in the member plan is a monthly live chat video. At least for now, it's monthly. Could increase the frequency if that's what everyone wants to do. So take a look at that if you're interested. And I hope you'll come back next week. By then, I ought to have my 2024 goals in place, and I'll be talking about the things that I'm going to sew in January. So other than that, I hope that you're having a great holiday season. I hope that you have a fantastic New Year's start to your new year. New Year's Eve, do you celebrate on New Year's Eve? We keep it pretty low key in our household for New Year's Eve. For me, it's doing good. Like, I'm doing good if I can even stay awake until the ball drops. In the past year or two, I think I did stay awake. Usually I fall asleep. Hubby kind of taps me on the shoulder about a minute before the ball's going to drop and wakes me up so that I don't miss it. And I watch the ball and then I go right back to sleep. But the last couple of years, I've been able to kind of stay up and enjoy the festivities. Anyway, I love New Year's Day. It's my favorite holiday because I love setting goals. I love the idea of a fresh start. There's just something about it. I know it's an arbitrary day, but we gotta have some sort of a starting point each year, like a reset. I love that. Just a time of reflection, to look back and see how things are going. Is there room for improvement? Of course, there's always room for improvement, especially in my world. There is with me and my goals. But it gives me a chance to reflect on that and think about how do I want to do better in the coming year. And I hope that you have a great New Year's. And I will talk to you next time. Bye.